Yo, what's going on everyone? It's Brian here with DrinkABeerandPlayAGame, and if you're watching this video, I bet you love collecting and playing games just as much as me. And while some of us may be fine spending too much money on games, personally, I like to game and collect on the cheap, so I decided to start this series and see how many games could I get for only $10. At a price point like that, I know they're not all going to be great, but maybe I'll find a few gems. So let's just go ahead and dive in and see what games I was able to snag for this episode. So my initial goal with this series was to hit up a bunch of flea markets, thrift stores, and anywhere else I could find games cheap, so I could have some physical copies, but after many unsuccessful trips, I knew I had to take a different path. So I decided I needed to go digital, and what better place to go digital than Steam? I always notice that there's a ton of games on sale, and I rarely take advantage of this. So I went through the cheap list and picked a few titles that sparked my interest. As you can see, I have an interesting grouping here, but the good news is I only spent $9.72, so let's take a closer look at each title and see if I got my money's worth. Let's start with the cheapest game, Postal II. And my god. So, I knew about this game and the series and even that awful movie, but I never actually got around to playing it. Postal 2 was released in 2003 and developed by Running with Scissors. What can I say about this game? Well, there's the plot, if you want to call it a plot, that revolves around the postal dude who lives in a trailer located in Paradise, Arizona. Recently fired from his job and constantly berated by his wife.
You were the one who insisted on relocating for that stupid video game job.
Yeah, well, crack doesn't by itself, you know. There it is.
You are assigned daily tasks to complete, which includes picking up milk, confessing your sins.
Bless me, Father, for I have really sinned. Really? I'm not kidding here. Big sinner. Yep.
Asking Gary Coleman for an autograph, and a whole lot more. The game spans from Monday to Friday, and you can choose to do all these tasks normally or violently. But eventually, thanks to various protesters, you are usually forced into violence, and let's be honest, that is the point of the game. Postal 2 feels like it was developed by someone who was watching South Park on a daily basis, and I must admit, I laughed more times than I thought I would. From the dialogue,
Sign this petition or I'll follow you home and kill your dog.
To the ultra-violence, to the cat silencer, to just the random ability to pee on things. There is a lot I haven't seen in video games before. While the game controls fine and the open world aspect is well done, the gags can only entertain you for so long, and the gameplay can get kind of boring. Still, I had stupid fun with this one. Now this may surprise you, but this game had a lot of controversy when it was released. But I'm not sure why. With this purchase, I also got the DLC, which included the Apocalypse Weekend, which extends the Postal Dude's exploits to Saturday and Sunday, and now includes more enemies such as mad cow infected zombies. So normally this game is available for $9.99, I got it for 99 cents. And honestly, for this price, I have to give it a thumbs up. Even for $9.99, this would be a fun time waster and an interesting experience. It's one of those games you would just be like, okay, yeah, I've now played one of the more talked about controversial games. So if you are in a mood for a juvenile, over-the-top, ultra-violent first-person shooter, then this is for you. But if you're unable to take childish jokes, then maybe stay away from this one. Next up is Pacify. And I knew nothing about this game when looking at the cover, except that it reminded me of the girl from The Grudge. So naturally, I was all in. Developed by SKH Apps led by Sean Hitchcock, this game was released in February of 2019. The best way I can describe this game is a first-person horror experience with the player assuming the role of a paranormal investigator/exorcist that has been tasked with solving the haunting of a house with strange dolls. With 0 instructions, you begin outside of the house during the loudest rainstorm in gaming history and soon find yourself in a basement. As I was exploring, trying to find any information I can, I realized that the graphics are damn good considering the low budget, and I was admiring the "Ah!" I legit jumped when I first saw her. Now after a moment you realize she doesn't seem that intimidating, she's just creepy looking. And then she gets angry, and dear God. I don't know what they used to make that growl, but it sounds like a distorted bear, and you can hear it throughout the entire house. As you attempt to run away from the girl, you will come across these dolls. Now, some of these dolls that look regular can be used to pacify the ghost. And then there are the ones that are in black and white who continue to move around the house except for when you spot them, and they have a little spiral on them. These are meant to be burned in order to start the ritual for exorcising this ghost. As you burn more dolls, the ghost will become angrier faster, and she will be able to move much more quickly. If you are able to complete the ritual, you are tasked with bringing the girl in your van for further study in your facility. This can be played solo, or with a group of people, or player versus player, which basically means whoever does the most in the house wins. When playing in multiplayer, if the girl catches you, you are turned into a doll and have a chance to revive yourself by jumping into a fire. This is assuming that it's lit. I unfortunately fell in with some players that just decided to hide in the corner for a really long period of time. There is another map called The Farm, which plays very similar to the dollhouse, except you are dealing with a cannibal who seems to be infected with something like the rage virus, and your goal here is to feed him poisoned chickens. Yeah. Overall, I commend this game considering it was developed really by one person on such a limited budget, and although you may be creeped out at first by the enemies, the real fun is in the multiplayer. The replayability may not be super high here, but it still is a pretty fun experience. Now normally Pacify is available for $4.99, I got it for $3.49. Whether we are talking about the regular price or my sale price, I'm going to give this a thumbs up. For a game under $5, it may not be the deepest experience, but it does have a lot of fun moments. And I also heard that the developer is going to continue adding new levels for free, so that's always a bonus. If you're a horror fan, I highly recommend it, but if you're someone just looking for a goofy multiplayer experience that you can mess around with your buddies, try it out. The final game for this episode is Death Road to Canada, developed by RoccoW Games and Mad Garden. It was released in July of 2016. If you ever wanted to play a zombie-infested adaptation of the Oregon Trail, then this is the game for you. Now to be fair, there was another game with this idea called the Oregon Trail, released in 2013, which took almost every identical concept from the Oregon Trail and just added in zombies. Death Road to Canada not only takes the concept of Oregon Trail and adds in zombies, but it also adds in RPG elements, procedurally generated locations, events, players, enemies, and it adds in a ton of weapons and not to mention a ton of customization options. With really fun graphics and a retro-inspired soundtrack, the presentation in this game is great, and it's also a ton of fun. Your goal is to get from Florida to Canada, where the zombie outbreak isn't too bad. Now admittedly, after multiple playthroughs, I still haven't managed to get into Canada. I thought I was set with a real god tier group as I had a reliable first survivor, someone who was good with guns, and then I picked up a female version of Thor, complete with Mjolnir, and Jason Voorhees. Well, it turned out picking up Jason was a bad idea, as he may have been very strong and able to kill a lot of zombies, he also liked killing all the other survivors along the way. So, when it ended up being just him, he was overrun by too many zombies. The game also offers a ton of rare events to unlock even more outrageous characters, so this is one I will be going back to time and time again. No two playthroughs will be the same, and every jerk you meet will have equal parts pros and cons. I should also mention that the number of zombies on screen at any given moment can be insane, so it's definitely not a walk in the park. Now normally this game is available for $14.99, I got it for $5.24. Without a doubt, this is a thumbs up. Honestly, there is a lot of game here for either price. And it's available on the PC, PS4, Xbox One, iOS, and Android. So, if you like zombies, procedurally generated RPGs, well-written crude humor, or the Oregon Trail, then this game is definitely for you. Overall, I was very satisfied with these selections. I probably would never have played these games, but to be honest, they were all really fun. Some were pretty ridiculous, and they're all kind of limited, but for the price point, you really can't beat it, and that's what I wanted to get out of this challenge. So please, if you enjoyed this video, make sure you comment below what you think, make sure you hit subscribe, and come back next time as we hunt for more great deals. Cheers, everyone!